Okay, so our lesson today for Reader's Workshop is actually about summarizing. Now, as we get into very complex text, especially text that's really long, when we're trying to identify the main ideas and pay attention to the details that the author uses to support them, we can somehow get into a situation where our comprehension or our understanding of what we're reading starts to break down. And when that happens and we realize that we've been reading on automatic pilot and we have kind of lost track of what the author is trying to tell us and teach us, then we need to have to stop, and the strategy is to summarize. Now, the standard we're working on, it's standard 1.2 in our reading informational text, and it says to determine two or more main ideas of a text, because remember, we're in 5th grade now. We're not just trying to identify one main idea, but we're trying to identify multiple main ideas and explain how they are supported by the key details. Summarize the text. And so today I wanted to give you an opportunity to kind of have some guided practice on how to do that with a complex piece of text. Now remember what we learned when we had our chart out here. Ways that nonfiction can get hard. One of the things is that sometimes the main idea is implicit, meaning it's not explicit, meaning it's not right there, jumping out at you. When you think about the essays that you write, okay, your very first sentence in each of your body paragraphs is the main idea. So you know when you're reading an essay that you're going to look there. And that strategy worked a lot in 4th grade. But now that we're reading more complex nonfiction, that strategy is not always going to work. Okay? So what I've done for today is I've printed up, this is page 18 and 19 in our book, When Lunch Fights Back. Okay? And today what we're going to do, the first step in what we're going to do is to read it with our partner to see if we can come up with some main ideas. Now, as you come up with main ideas, I want you to jot them in your notebook. So go ahead and open your notebook up. Put today's date on the corner of your page. And with your partner, I want you to go ahead and I want you to start reading the text and seeing if you can identify main ideas. There were 2 main ideas that kind of stood out to me. So go ahead and start reading with your partner. Yeah. Okay, so see how that's a complex word right there? What do you think that means? Huh? No, but if you were trying to identify that unknown word right there, what would you say? What would you look at? Huh? Okay, so are there any context clues that tell you what that word means? Can you reach the end of the sentence? Okay, so how do you know it's temperament? Why it's temperament? Okay, so you know that word means it's a kind of termite, right? Okay, go ahead, keep reading. Okay, I'm going to stop you for a second, guys, because remember what your purpose is? Your purpose is to do what? What should you be doing as you're reading with your partner? Gianna? Deciding on main ideas, okay? I'm just noticing that nobody's writing anything down. So I just want to remind you of your purpose. So go ahead and continue to read from where you left off. I'm reading it out loud, guys.
So basically, we've still read
Okay, guys, I'm gonna call you back. All right, so based on what you've read so far, has anybody come up with a main idea for what you've been reading? Matthew?
That the scientists are, the scientists are questioned to find out of the entering to termites.
All right, so can you say more about that? The scientists are questioned?
A reason that I think that is.
Wait a minute. I think you misunderstood what my question is. If you say more, the scientists are questioned. Does it really quite make sense?
Yes, because in the first paragraph, they say.
Who is questioning the scientists?
No, the scientists are questioning that.
The scientists are asking questions.
No, they're questioning,
So what would you call that when a scientist is asking questions and they're doing observations? What are they doing? What do you call that?
Researching.
They're doing research, right? Okay, now I'm very impressed, Matthew, that you and Gabriel saw that, because that was what I would call a very implicit main idea. Because it doesn't come right out and say that scientists research termites, okay? When we're reading through this, we say, while slogging through a rainforest in French Guiana, scientists Thomas Bergendon and Jan Sabatnik came upon a colony of N. tarancua termites. So N. tarancua is a type of termite. They noticed something odd as they watched the insects go in and out of their nest. Some termite workers had blue spots on their backs. Intrigued, Bourguignon grabbed one with forceps. The termite promptly burst. Very carefully, the scientists collected several blue-spotted workers and examined them more closely. So we have the scientists conducting research by examining, right? The blue spots they discovered were tiny pouches filled with blue crystals. We exported some of the termites to our lab in the Czech Republic, where a team of biochemists analyzed them, explained Bourguignon. The crystals turned out to be a copper-containing protein. Related proteins are secreted in termite digestive tracts, but no one had ever seen pouches full of this protein on a termite's back. So this part right here, we can definitely say that the main idea of this is that scientists you said question, right?
Yes.
Question and observe. And then let's use Sebastian's to conduct research. Does anybody else have another main idea that's different from this? Gabriel?
Scientists do research.
What you're saying is the same thing that I already have up
I'm
here.
saying scientists find out what it is, what's on the termite back by doing research.
But we already have that. That's that main idea. This is something, we should have something
Oh,
different.
I have something different.
Okay?
Scientists find out.
Something that has nothing to do with the scientists.
They
Who is they?
the scientists.
But I just said nothing to do with the scientists.
Oh, the blue spot on the termite's back.
That sounds like a detail to me. Gianna, help him out.
These termites have a defense.
Okay, so you could say, because as we continue to read, it talks about the defense. All right, so termites have a way of protecting themselves. And Gabriel, to get back to your point, then those would be details that would support that. Okay, as far as their blue spots and what they are and what they do, those would be details to support how they protect themselves. Now, before we start thinking about how to write a summary of these 2 pages, we want to stop and think about how are these 2 main ideas connected to each other. All right. So turn and talk with your partner. How are these 2 main ideas that we've just come up with? How are they connected to each other? How do they fit together? Okay, I'm hearing lots and lots and lots of really cool observations about how these are connected to each other. Ryan, how are they connected?
So, you know how the scientists are questioning and observing to conduct research, but they found out that termites have a way of protecting themselves by questioning and observing.
Okay, all right. So can anybody identify the kind of relationship between these 2? What would we say this is, Gianna? It's cause and effect. Could we say this, Ryan? Could we say, as a result of the scientists questioning and observing to conduct research, they discovered, okay, that termites have a way of protecting themselves. Let's move this over here a little bit so it looks like a way instead of a way. Okay, so we can see how they're connected. Guys, this is a really huge comprehension strategy that's really going to help you to break apart and analyze the parts of the text. Remember that standard where we have to try to see how the different parts fit together? Okay, this is a way for us to do that. Okay, so our next step is to come up with, and listen to me carefully because we're writing a summary. A summary should be what? What should a summary should be? What should it be? Matthew?
Basically basically main ideas from the paragraph that you read.
Okay, but I think that there's more, not just the main ideas. What else do you have to include? When you're writing a summary, okay, yes?
The details.
Some of the details, right? But we have to remember what? Should a summary be, or should it be, Jaden?
Paragraph.
Well, that might be
Smaller bit.
a smaller paragraph, right? If I wrote a summary that was as long as our text, it wouldn't be a summary, correct? It would be a retelling. So we're not retelling. What we're looking for is the most important facts, okay? A summary is not going to get into all of the details. So Gabriel, we don't really even need to talk about the blue spots on their body But we do need to talk about those blue sacks that explode, right? Okay, so now what I'd like you to do is I would like you to keep in mind this with your partner. I want you to use these two main ideas, and I want you to come up with, and here's the challenge, 1 or 2 sentences with details to support each of these main ideas. Now remember, we already started our summary, right? Ryan, can you repeat what we said? What you said? How have we started our summary?
By cause and effect.
Okay, and do you remember it? Say it.
That scientists question and observe to conduct research, and they found out that termites have a way of protecting themselves.
Okay. All right. Now, the last step in all of this is for us to remember that we have an author here, right? Let me go grab my book. And remember, we always want to make sure that we're giving credit to the author. And this is a book. Remember, we got this from our book, When Lunch Bites Back. And so our author is Rebecca Johnson. Okay? So according to Rebecca Johnson, scientists question and observe to conduct research, discovering that termites have a way of protecting themselves. Okay? So you have the beginning, all right? You need to add onto this, and you don't have to write this part right here because we already have it on the board. You're just going to write the part. You need to have 2 sentences, maybe 3 if you can't get it down to 2, that are the details that support this. So with your partner, I want you to go ahead and I want you to continue to read and come up with 2, maybe 3 sentences that you would add on to this summary. All right, go ahead and turn and talk.
So can you give us details to how they protect themselves?
Say that again.
Different
Okay, you can, but don't forget this part, right? So you have this main idea, so you might want to incorporate both of those, right? So you might want to make a detail about the scientists, okay? And then you might want to make a detail about the termites, all right?
So we need 2 sentences.
Say it again. According to Rebecca Johnson, or in this section, Rebecca Johnson is teaching us that scientists conduct experiments to determine that termites have no protecting themselves. Okay, let's see if we have a detail that can be shared. A detail, what did you come up with a detail that can be shared? Julio?
The bomb that they do,
Who's they?
the termite.
The termites.
Yeah. The blue sac explodes and then they die.
Okay, but the fact that they die, is that important for how they protect themselves? Okay, so you want to think about that. You need your details to line up, right? There is a blue sac, right? And it is the way they're protecting it. But do you want to say that it explodes and they die? Okay, so think about refining that a little bit, revising it.
I'm so they die and they sacrifice themselves.
Well, yes, I know, but is the main idea about dying and sacrificing themselves? It's about how they protect themselves. You want to revise that and build on that, Callie? Okay, I can't hear because there's conversation going on over here. Go ahead, Callie.
In the third paragraph, it says, obviously, the crystal pouches was one sort of defensive weapon.
Okay, so they have, we know that a good detail is that they have these pouches that are filled with a blue crystal. Okay, that's important, right? Because that's the way that they protect themselves. They have a pouch that's filled with a blue crystal. I think that we need one more sentence about that pouch, about what happens. Think about that, about what happens. Yes.
What happens is that when an attacker is trying to attack them, they use this blue pouch to protect themselves. And the way that it works, because the scientists asked how it worked, when they, when they're, they wait, the termites wait until they're surrounded by attackers, and then the termite just uses the blue sac, and it explodes.
Okay, I
And
think
then
you're
it
getting,
kills them.
see what's happening is you're starting to fall back with a retelling. All right, so I'm going to call a couple of your names for you to go and see Miss Lyons. The rest of you need to stay here. While you're waiting for us to resume, see if you can come up with your details and refine them so that they support the main idea. So I'll call your names and please come to the door. Mia, Ryan, Matthew, Gabriel, and Ella. Go ahead and make your way to the classroom door for your group. Okay, I'm not seeing very much talking going on right now. You're supposed to be coming up with your main ideas. Okay, we already have from Callie that it's a packet of blue crystals. All right, what else do you need to say about that without going into a huge retelling? Go ahead.
I think this might help. But can the blue sac kill a certain amount of termites?
How does it protect? How does that blue crystal pouch filled with blue crystals protect the termite? Emily?
It has a toxic.
What does it do? It has a toxic what? Protein?
It's something for the toxic.
Pardon me?
The blue pouch is something for the toxic.
When a predator attacks, Gianna, help her out.
When the predator attacks and tries to bite the termite, it will release a toxic liquid that bubbles up on the termite's back and poisons them.
Okay, all right. So can we see how we're staying our details? We're not including every little detail because it's not a retelling. Just the important ones so that we remember why we did this. Who remembers why are we going to do a summary? Why are we summarizing? Not because someone asked us to. Why are we summarizing, Sebastian? No, not quite. When do we want to start summarizing when we're reading? When do we want to stop and summarize? Kelly? To better understand it. So when we realize our comprehension is breaking down on this nonfiction text, we want to make sure that we're stopping and saying, okay, in this section, Rebecca Johnson is writing about how the scientists conducted research to find out why the termites, or how the termites protect themselves. As a result of their research, they found that out why. All right, so I want to show you an example. And like I said, everybody's summary is going to be slightly different. There's no one wrong way or right way to do it. As long as you're focusing on the main ideas, both implicit and explicit, and as long as you're choosing your details strategically so that they support your main ideas and that they do not fall back into a retelling of what you read, okay? So here's an example I'm going to show you. This is the example that they give us to use as a mentor text for this part, okay? And it's right down here. All right, I'll read it out loud to you so that you can see it if you can hear it if you can't see it. In this section, Rebecca Johnson teaches that research led to discovering how termites fight off their enemies. That's exactly what Ryan told us, okay? That's the relationship between the two. It's about the scientists and it's about the protection. One main idea is that scientists ask questions and research to find answers. These scientists asked what the blue pouches were made of. Another main idea is that termites use their bodies to kill their enemies. They carry packs that burst open when they are attacked. Okay, so notice in a good summary, it's going to tell us the main ideas, show how they're related to each other, and include only enough details so that our understanding of what we have read is clear. All right, does everybody understand that? All right, so every time from today, for the rest of your reading career, you are going to do this. Whenever you notice that comprehension is breaking down when you're reading a nonfiction text, you're going to stop and summarize. Remember, main ideas and details that are only required in order to make the idea clear. All right, go ahead and gather your things and head back to your seats.